I know what you must be thinking. I'm surrounded by food, so this must be one of my happy dreams. In fact, this is as close to my best reality as possible. Surrounded by food that I love and enjoy and want to share with you. So, welcome everybody. It's Dr. K in the kitchen again for our next seminar webinar. Moving into talking about foods, nutrition, and nutrients. So what I wanted to do today is talk a little bit about some of the different foods that we can incorporate into our own diets and into the diets of the children at our centers. Yesterday we were talking a little bit about nutrition, what it is, talking a little bit about nutrients, why they're important, and it's easy to say, yes, we need a variety. It's easy to say, yes, we need to have fresh fruits, vegetables, things that are really accessible, but sometimes that's difficult. That's challenging for us and for families. So what I wanted to do was show you some options of things that you can include in your diet and in the diets of the children at your programs to help include some of those nutrients. And what I'm going to show you today are things that are all affordable, things that you can get just from your local grocery store or Costco. And I'll talk a little bit about how I use them, how I use them to increase the nutrient value of the foods that I make and eat. And I'll talk a little bit about some of the nutrients in these foods and why they're important for us and for the children that we work with. So one of the things as ECEs we need to be aware of, obviously, are children with allergies. And we really have to think and do our research to figure out what we can include in their diets so that they're still getting the nutrition that they need for those developing bodies and brains, but still making sure that it's also affordable for our programs. And a lot of times, what's also accessible. Sometimes there are certain dietary restrictions that require us to do a lot of research and travel. So to find certain items at specialty stores for specific conditions or specific dietary restrictions can be a bit of a challenge. So the foods that I'm going to show you today are, again, all from local stores, and I've also bought all of them either on sale or in bulk to reduce some of my food costs, which of course as ECEs is something that we need to be aware of. So what I thought I would do is talk a little bit about some of these foods, and I'll talk a little bit about how I use them, and we'll have some fun talking about food. So one of the things that I do a lot of in my cooking is to use different flours. And for children who have maybe a gluten sensitivity or gluten allergy or celiac disease, this is definitely something that we want to be thinking about. How do we incorporate really nutrient-dense foods when they cannot have gluten, when a lot of the products have wheat? So what I often do is include almond flour, one of my absolute favorite things to make. I make pancakes with this, waffles, bread, I've done crackers, I've done pizza dough. So I find that this is really versatile, and sometimes you have to use it with psyllium fiber, which I'm going to show you in just a few minutes. But I find it's got a really, really nice taste, and again, I buy it bulk. You can buy it at, like, I think Scoop and Way or Bulk Barn, and so it's quite affordable. This actually has, because it's just almonds, it's just ground almonds, it has a lot of really good nutrients like fiber, which we know that we need in our diets to help regulate our intestines and our bowels, and make sure that waste is being eliminated from our bodies. As well, the great thing about almonds and almond flour is calcium. So we know that calcium is really important for healthy bones and teeth. And when we combine it with something with vitamin D, like almond milk, for example, that is great because vitamin D helps to absorb calcium. So we're getting two great nutrients, and they're kind of helping each other out. So I really like almond flour as an option instead of a wheat flour. I also use coconut flour, and I have done muffins with these. I actually have a couple recipes for bread and actual like little buns that are coconut flour and almond flour. So the two of them work together, which is great. So again, really nice taste and really light. Again, I got this at Superstore. You can buy it in bulk again to reduce some of the cost. And it contains iron, which we know is really, really important for us. And it has about 20% of your daily intake of fiber in about 2 tablespoons. So you're getting a lot of good fiber in something that actually tastes good. So that's something that I use. Just again, here's that psyllium husk powder or psyllium husk fiber that I include in some of my baking. Again, you can actually just drink this with some water, but I include a little bit in baking, not so much wanting to drink this. It does have a bit of a bitter taste, but again, just a little bit adds a lot of fiber. There is also calcium in this as well, and very, very low sodium content, that kind of thing. So psyllium husk powder or psyllium husk fiber is a really great option to add to some baking, even some smoothies if you'd like. Okay. Some other things I really like to enjoy in baking or smoothies, even on salads, hemp. Hemp is one of these wonder foods. It has a little bit of everything. It has zinc, it has iron, it has thiamine, it has riboflavin. Zinc in particular has a really strong role in growth hormone, and we talked about this last term. So helping your body to grow, especially as a developing person. So it helps with growth hormone and also with insulin production. So this has a lot of great things. As well, there's a really interesting nutrient called manganese, and that helps with regulating blood sugar. It helps with your metabolism. It also decreases inflammation in your body, and if you are female and experiencing menstruation, it actually has been known to help with cramps. So, fun fact. Chia. Sorry, where's my chia? Chia. Chia seeds are another really great thing to add to smoothies, to muffins. I like them with, just a tablespoon or two in protein balls as well. And chia is, again, just the seed itself. And you can get white or black chia seeds. And this has iron, this has calcium, this has some potassium, and also has some proteins. So, again, some really good options for not a lot of the food needed. So lots of nutrients for just a little bit of the food. Quinoa, one of my absolute favorite things to include. You can do pancakes. You can do, I do this in a coconut quinoa and sweet potato soup. It's phenomenal in so many different ways. You can use it as a substitute for rice. And one of the great things about quinoa is it has a lot of iron as well, which is, of course, good for our immune system. And what iron does, it actually combines with protein to make something called hemoglobin, which is in our blood. And that's the part of the red blood cells that carries oxygen. So again, something really, really critical. So this tends to fluff up quite nicely, similar to rice. So I've had it in salads. I've made this in a quinoa with orange, mandarin orange, and red onion salad. So you get a little bit of the sweetness as well, but because it does have some protein, it also helps fill you up as well. Some other things that I like in baking, actually, flax. Flax is a really great option, again, for smoothies, for pancakes, for oatmeal, adding it with the oats. And this is a great source of fiber, and it also actually has some of those good fats that we need. So there is a bit of the omega-3 and the omega-6 fatty acids, which I'll talk a little bit more about when I show you some of the oils that I often use in my cooking. So again, with my I make almond flour pancakes or waffles, and I usually include a good heaping tablespoon of flax to add some more nutrients. Oatmeal. So these are just quick oats, and again, I like these with protein balls or as a part of a really healthy berry bake or berry crisp. And so this is another way that you can get some fiber. It's low in sugar, and also has a lot of iron as well. So some good quick oats as well. And from what I have been told, because it is a carbohydrate, it can also give you some energy, and because it is a little more sustainable in the body, it helps you feel full for longer. Now, if you have children who have, like I said, a gluten sensitivity or an allergy, you can't always offer the wheat pastas or the flour pastas. So one thing I love is edamame pasta. So this is just edamame. It's depending on the kind that you buy, it may have a little bit of salt in it. But this is a great option, again, for spaghetti, for, if you're doing like a fettuccine, you can get different fettuccine noodles made out of edamame. Now, you can also buy black bean pasta as well, but I prefer the taste of the edamame. And edamame is great for having a lot of calcium, which again we know is really good for the bones and the teeth, and it also helps with blood clotting, which is so important. And as well, this has a lot of the potassium I mentioned earlier, so we know that that's good for fluid balance, muscle contraction, nerve conduction, so a lot of those really critical systems in our body we don't often think about. So that's edamame pasta. Again, if you're kind of thinking outside the box for foods for children, I love doing sushi with children. So just a nori wrap, which is seaweed, has a ton of nutrients. So vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, iron, there's some fiber. Now this is really great because vitamin A helps to repair tissues, and helps form healthy skin, helps with bone growth and tooth development. And then the vitamin C is an antioxidant. And so this strengthens our immune system and also helps with wound healing. So very, very simple. You can actually bake these as well with a little bit of oil and sea salt, and they almost become like a chip. So children love that, and they're a little salty. So it again, you're not getting the deep fried fats that are not as good for us. You can bake these very easily, and it becomes a tasty, healthy snack. As well, when we're thinking about sugar, and we were talking about this yesterday, the idea of how do we eliminate some of the sugar in our diets and the diets of the children that we're working with. So things like sugar substitutes. So monk fruit is a great option. Stevia from the stevia plant. As well, erythritol or xylitol are options as well. And what you want to look for is something that doesn't spike your blood sugar. It has a low impact on your insulin levels. So something like xylitol or erythritol doesn't have that impact on your blood sugar or your insulin level, which is really important. Cacao nibs. Cacao nibs or cacao powder are really great options instead of the sugary chocolate, which I love. I'm not going to lie. But this is a really nice option again in smoothies. So I've made a really, really tasty fresh mint banana smoothie with milk and cacao nibs. So you get that kind of mint chocolate chip ice cream flavor, but in a healthy option. The great thing about cacao, whether it's in the nibs or the powder, it has a lot of magnesium, which helps with formation of strong bones and teeth, and of course protein production, and as well it is great for helping to release energy and transmission of nerve impulses. So we talked about this last time, this idea of information getting passed from our body to our brain, or our brain to our bodies. So obviously nerves are important in that. So magnesium is really critical for that. Again, just thinking outside of the box for not only children with allergies, but for giving them some options of different foods, new foods. So rice paper or rice noodles are really great options if you want to try some fun foods for children. So some really nice spring rolls, so load them up with some really crunchy vegetables and mint to give them something different other than, let's say, tortilla wraps or bread or toast. Rice paper is actually really interesting to use, because when it's wet you can actually see through it, so children can see the really beautiful colors of the vegetables that you've included, say, in their veggie wraps. As well, it comes in different shapes, so that can be really fun for children if they're trying to make these themselves. And again, with rice noodles, these don't take a long time to cook, and you can get different lengths, different thicknesses. These are just some thick noodles, which work really well in something like pad thai. And again, for thinking about your menu planning assignment, what about some vegetarian pad thai? Obviously, we don't have to use peanuts in pad thai. But there's some eggs. What about some shrimp or tofu? So there's some really great options for different menu items to be included. Now, I talked yesterday again about the sugar and sugar that can be hidden. So this is natural peanut butter, and the only thing in here is, well, peanuts. So when you're choosing a peanut butter or a nut butter, definitely look to see if there's any added sugar. And it may say icing sugar, it may say glucose or fructose or corn syrup. So you definitely have to be a little bit savvy about the names of sugar. So definitely something to be thinking about. As well, I absolutely love yogurt. So I eat a lot of yogurt. And one thing I really like to do is choose a plain yogurt. And plain yogurt has very, very low sugar content, as opposed to a flavored yogurt. And just to give you a sense of this, so the serving size for each of these yogurts, so this is just an Icelandic plain style yogurt, and this is a Greek yogurt with coconut or coconut flavoring. So for 3/4 of a cup, which is the recommended serving, this is 19 grams of sugar, and this is 2. So all I tend to do when I have yogurt is mix in just a little bit of real fruit jam or fruit spread. So stuff that you can make yourself, or that you can buy again from Superstore. Try to make sure that the jam doesn't have added sugar. It's just the natural sugar from the fruit that is included. So I add maybe, just a tablespoon. And then I also, I'll show you in one of the next videos, how to make sugar-free granola. So I just have that, and I'm getting lots of protein, I'm getting lots of calcium, so a really good option, and it also helps keep me full for longer. Yesterday I talked a little bit about tuna, and this actually says right on it, wild skipjack tuna. So we were talking a little bit about mercury content as being an issue with choosing large fish. Tuna, again, is a big fish, and mercury can be detrimental to our health. So definitely thinking about either on the top or the bottom of tuna, have a look for skipjack. But this one actually says it right on skipjack tuna. So something for you to consider. As well, if you have a child in your center that has a dairy intolerance or allergy, things like almond milk or coconut milk are great options. Soy as well. Some children enjoy soy milk. I mentioned yesterday as well that when you do pick something like this, you want to avoid the sweetened. This is in particular, this is unsweetened almond milk. And again, I like this as an option for smoothies. If I don't have milk, which I sometimes do have, for my pancakes or my waffles, I'll use almond milk. And because this also has a little bit of vanilla, it gives it a really nice flavor. And again, I've got my little notes here. So this actually has quite a bit of vitamin D, which we know is needed to absorb calcium, and phosphorus, which is, of course, good for our bones and our teeth. And it also has vitamin B12. So this helps with blood formation and maintains nervous tissue. So good for us. Now I mentioned oils as well. And one of the things that becomes an issue with oil is how we cook with it. Part of the issue with oils is some have a very high smoke point or a low smoke point. And what that means is if there is a low smoke point, once it hits a certain temperature, it starts to break down. So you're not getting the nutrients that you would want. So one of the things I like to use if I'm cooking at a higher heat is avocado oil. It does have a high smoke point, and I believe it actually is good up to 500 degrees Celsius. So avocado oil is a really great option if you're doing some higher heat cooking, but it's also really great in salad dressing. It has a really light taste. If you're not crazy about olive oil, which can have a richer taste, then avocado oil is a really good option, and it's nice and light. But I do like olive oil. Olive oil is it's very, very tasty in a lot of different things. And it also has the omegas that I was talking about, and avocado oil does as well. So omega-3 and 6 fatty acids are really critical for brain and nerve function, and it also helps to promote healthy skin. So both the avocado oil and the olive oil have the omega-3 and 6 fatty acids, which are really important for our health. Olive oil, again, you want extra virgin olive oil, and probably better to cook with it at a lower temperature, but it's great in, I use it with my pancakes to help with whatever it does, the magic it does in pancakes. And again, also just, for sauteing or other types of low temperature cooking. If those aren't what you're enjoying, grapeseed oil as well. And this huge container of grapeseed oil has suited me for a very, very long time. Again, this is low in the trans fats, which are obviously an issue now. I think it's actually trans fat and cholesterol free. So just another option for different kinds of oils for you in your cooking and in maybe some of those salad dressings that you're using. We know that children love dips, dips, and to avoid some of the dips that might not be as healthy, we could think about things like hummus. Hummus is great because you can do so many different things with it. I like this is a basil and garlic, but you can add a lot of lemon to it. I have made beet hummus. You can do a red pepper hummus. So some other really healthy options for children to make food fun. And again, something like with red pepper or beet, you're also getting some beautiful color, which children are going to enjoy. So instead of the salad dressings that may have maybe some additives, maybe some sugar, hummus is a really great option for healthy eating and fun eating too. Again, dips and children go together. They really do. So think about hummus. I think that's all I wanted to share with you. So I'm hungry and I think I might go do some cooking. So until next time, this is Dr. K in the kitchen. Have fun.